All right, next one from Indris91. Are you planning more collabs in the future? Could you tell us a bit about the collab process? Did you meet with Julian or did you manage to do everything online and just ship him the prototypes? Lots of love.
We love Julian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Are you planning? There are no collabs planned for this year,
Correct.
but it was a very positive experience. It was a lot of fun for us. The Julian collection felt different and fun in a way that I think we really liked. So it's definitely something we are thinking about wanting to do again in the future, potentially next year. How did it work? Did you talk about this on the stream at all?
I did, but we talked about it more in Julian's stream, so maybe we could reiterate a little bit. First of all, I loved working with Julian, and I think him specifically made it such a fun collab because he's super energetic and interested, and he's also very creative and he's an artist in his own right. Like he was doodling, like, what if the inside of the box was like this? So
Yeah.
being able to collaborate with someone who's actually like an artist like that was really fun and inspiring for me too. I also had so much fun developing some of the launch content, like making TikToks with him or just filming our two streams together.
Yeah.
That was so fun to have someone alongside with me, like we were launching it together. And while we didn't envision collabs for Holo Taco in the beginning, I think we might have gotten this question in like the first podcast. I can't remember. Somewhere early on, someone asked, when's the first collab? And we were like, we're not thinking about that because we just have so much we want to do as a brand independently. I have so much I want to get through and I'm just not there yet. But I felt like in year 3, you know, it felt right. And it felt really good to do it with someone like Julian, who was just so fun to work with. And
Well, I think we'd only do it with like people or brands that make sense, right? I think there's some fatigue or people who follow the beauty and makeup space kind of roll their eyes when they see like makeup company collabing with KFC chicken. And you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of collabs out there and sometimes it just feels kind of forced. So I know we didn't really want to engage in that sort of thing.
Right. So as a result, we will not have frequent collabs. And when we do choose to do a collab, there'll be a really good reason or connection there.
Yeah, it should make sense.
Should make sense. Yeah.
Amazingly, we did manage to do everything with the Julian collection like remotely. Like we were on meetings with him a lot through like video chats and things like that. But yeah, it was actually kind of a bummer that we never actually got together.
I know. One day we're coming for you, Julian. We're just going to come over and finally celebrate in person.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal that we didn't get together, but you know, because he was very dedicated and invested, it made it really easy to work with him. So we were able to do a lot of like Cristine would receive the prototypes first, make sure they were to her standard, and then send it to Julian. So there was a lot of just like shipping things between the three of us and a lot of video calls figuring things out.
Yeah, and I think it's a super fun process that maybe people are a bit interested in. So like generally speaking, we kind of presented some options for formulas and we asked Julian like, what kind of formulas do you want? What kind of colors do you want? And then
he had a strong idea
and
of
then
color
he had
story.
a couple strong, he shared this in his stream, but I'll just repeat it a little bit. He made 2 color stories about what he wanted and kind of let us know what formulas that made sense. And it was clear to us that he really was interested in cremes. He just loved the Holo Taco creme formula. So that's kind of where we landed there. And we kind of all reviewed his few color storyboards and he felt strongest about the one that he landed on. And he already had some shade names. Like, so when you already know the shade name for the color, like, it's already good, you know, it's in a good place.
Yeah.
So then the lab and the product developers would develop a range of colors around the color that he'd selected because it's always, you know, it might apply a bit darker on the nail, might dry a bit lighter. There's all these variables. Maybe he wants a little bit warmer, a little bit cooler. So they would send, first I would get them all, as Ben said, and I would test them just for like opacity, consistency, that kind of thing, and make sure that the colors or the formula is something I would sign off on. And then we'd send the approved ones to Julian and he would get to review them, tell us what he likes. If there was a little tweak in the color, then we would do that. He requested all the wide brushes, for example, which is something we did for him. I remember asking that we send him swatch wheels because I didn't think he would like have those.
Yeah.
So like we sent him prototypes with swatch wheels so he could play and compare a little bit easier, kind of like how I do at home. And then it was just a bit of a back and forth if there was like a few revisions after that. And then the same kind of discussions would happen for packaging.
Yeah. So I know, because we know what it's like to be, or you know what it's like to be the influencer on this side of a relationship, we were super cognizant and sensitive to wanting him to feel like that it was his collection. And we really wanted him to feel good about it and make sure we weren't putting him in a position where it felt like he wasn't in control
Having a
over what it
say.
was creatively. So if anything, I think we may have put a lot of pressure on him to really let it be his, right?
Like when I asked him to write the shade descriptions.
Yeah, right. Like,
Like,
that was maybe a lot, right?
I'm sorry. No, I was like, hey, Julian, here's the template. Write the shade descriptions.
Just write the shade names. Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, being in what is basically kind of his position, that when you're coming out with a product, it's, if you write it, you know what you wrote and you feel you're saying what you want to say. So while it's like stressful and you're like, fuck, I gotta like, this is going to be on a website, I have to describe it. Yeah. You know, like we helped him, of course, and gave.
Of course, yeah. But I just know, we know like one of the worst feelings as a influencer is to feel like a company is just trying to use you to make money and doesn't actually really care about you or your fans, ideas. Right? Yeah. So if we swung as far as possible away from anything that would make him feel that way. But in a way, I feel like it kind of put him in the driver's seat and he's like, I don't know if I know how to drive this car, but let's do it, right?
It was amazing, though. I'm so happy.
It went really well.
Yeah.
We were very happy with it. And yes, Julian and Rome and his team are great to work with too.
Yeah, and we are considering other collabs later next year. Put it that way.